All right, my friends, good afternoon to everybody. We are back at it again. Brian here with VetteSource, where we are struggling to finish our last two bolts for the exhaust manifold on this passenger side that has proven to be much more of a challenge than our driver's side was, even though the driver's side looked like it had lots and lots of things to get out of the way in this Corvette tune port injection teardown that we've fallen down into greater depths of that I've been working on for a while, but it actually turned out to be a little bit easier. So what I'm stuck with now, and I thought I'd go over with you guys today, and what happens too with a lot of these cars that have gotten to be more complex over the years, especially starting in these 80s, is that there's a lot of hidden bolts, and there's a lot of bolts that just you don't have regular access to. So what I'm finally got back to, and I kind of talked about this a little bit in the video I did a few days ago, where, good Lord, I can't even, oh yeah, I was hanging stuff up in the garage. But anyway, these bolts here came out relatively easy, but back here in that corner, you can just see the head of one bolt, and there's another bolt right behind it. Well, of course, these were locked up. They weren't coming out of there, man. They just did not want to cooperate with me at all. So the more I sat, you know, again, and mechanicking, wrenching on stuff, sometimes you just got to take a step back and go think about what you're doing. And I actually enjoy the puzzle aspect of this because it's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle. And nerd alert, I actually do like jigsaw puzzles too, but I won't go into that today. So I went back and I thought about it, and I had went ahead and pulled that upper box, the HVAC box off it, because I'm going to replace the AC system in the car too. And normally I avoid pulling these boxes out of here just because they're kind of a pain in the butt to get them right, and sometimes the seals break on them and then they don't work correctly. And this one actually didn't look like it was going to be very easy to pull out of here. To be straight up with you, I kind of was avoiding it because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to pull that lower box out. And all I really needed to have access to was this. But once these bolts were frozen in here and I knew I couldn't get them out, I knew that I had to get this out of the way. Plus I can finish cleaning up in this corner. So I will give them this, even though it does look like it's really a challenge, GM did a good job with making this kind of accessible. So again, we go back to our trusty service manual here. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm looking at. And of course, this is our case right here. This is this lower part right here. That's that piece there. And what I realized was that even though I thought a lot of the bolts were going to be hidden down in these corners where I could barely get to them, you know, I'd have to come up with some kind of universal joint stack up to get in there. What they did was 3 of the bolts are from the outside of the case. You've got one here, and another one over here, and 3 of them are coming from the inside the car. So when I realized that, I said, hey, wait a minute, this won't be that bad. So I came back in here, and of course I'm used to Corvettes because Corvettes, they seem to make it like a Chinese checkers game for you. And of course, pulled off the trim panel, and there we go. There's one bolt there. There's one bolt there, and then there's the other one there. And they actually coated these a different way. You can see this gasket around it. That's the way to keep the airflow from escaping inside of there. That's one of their methods of using. So I'm actually in good shape. These are going to come out really easy, and the ones on the firewall should come out pretty easily. So I'm set up here. I've got things kind of pre-staged. Let's see if this works real quick while we're sitting here working on stuff. And we'll go right there. Let's see if I can get my tripod to cooperate for me. There's that bolt right in that corner. So I'm gonna grab this one real quick. Get this out of the way. Let's see if I can get underneath there. Actually, I'll move that out of the way. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so that one's out. And I just dropped it. Okay, I'll get to look for that one later. Great. Either that or I'll be searching through the junkyards again. Here's number 2. Right here. And number 3 is the only one that's a little bit of a bear to get to. We're gonna go back over here in this corner, and I'll show you real quick. I need to get this mod kit for this so I can get the light to shine on it constantly. So there's that third head of that bolt right there. See if I can set this somewhere. Not really. Okay, so you'll just have to trust me. This is what I'm getting to right here. And this one actually is a stud on top of that holds a wiring harness, and then the stud goes through the case. So we've got this loose already. I'm kind of doing this blind, so I can't see what I'm doing. And again, back in here, just using my hand tool so I don't mess anything up. Let's see if that's loose enough yet for me. There we go. And this is actually where your heater hoses come in right here. So this is a pretty tight area to have to work in. And what I had to do, of course, was use another 10 to hold that stud in place, because this was wanting to turn as well. Now GM is infamous for using doubling up use of these to do a dual purpose, dual duty on these. So they'll make a bolt stud, and then they'll put another, like a section of harness or something on top of it, and there it is. There's that little 10mm. So now I can pull, grab my light again so you guys can see. All right, so I'll grab, as I drop things, maybe I should just put that right there. Let's see. Maybe you can see that from there. Part of the trick of doing this, guys, is the right camera angles. I'm just gonna hold it. So there. That's that wiring harness that goes there. And then it just came right off. Now, I can get to the actual stud part of it and pull that out of there. So there we go. And once we get this one out, then we'll be able to go inside and take those out real quickly. Now I may, let's see if this works for me. Probably will. This is actually the bolt. I don't know if you noticed, the head of that bolt is a reverse safety Torx right there. And if I had a safety bit handy and I could figure out a way to get it in there, I could go ahead and take that loose and leave that stud in there. What I'm going to do right now is go ahead and take the whole thing. You know what, it may not come out. No, it's not going to. It's going to force me to take that safety bolt or leave that stud in there. Okay, so let's move on to our inside, because that's going to be easier. That's going to be my one Waterloo bolt that doesn't want to come out, and I can see that already. All right, so we come in here and get this positioned, and then we're just going to take these out right here, and we're going to dip this down a little bit. And we're gonna get these two out of here. That's gross. Really clean underneath. Okay, there's one. And there's our third one right there. All right, so 1, 2, and these are actually coarse threads, so they're a little bit easier to get in and out versus the fine threads. Okay. All right, so we'll leave those right there. Let's come back over here. I want to see how loose this thing is. It's getting there. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna have to go off camera here for a second to figure out a few more things. So while I do that, let me get that squared away and I'll get back to you guys in just a second. Hang tight. Okay, well, we're back, and that was a booger. Okay, that one did not want to come out very well, but it did. And you can see here I've got this loose now. Now the trick we've got to figure out is if I'm gonna be able to get this off on a camera. So it may not give me enough room, but it may. Let's see, I need to take that 10 out there. I'm just tearing everything apart today, guys. That's okay, just remember where it all goes. That's a jigsaw puzzle. And if you don't, just figure it out. So I'll get this little bracket out of the way. It's kind of like the way the brake booster was over there. It didn't actually look like it had enough room to come out of there. And then once we started maneuvering it, it came out. So I suspect this one's going to be much the same way. There we go. Aha. Okay. There we go, my friend. And come on. This is going to be fun to get back in. I'll probably do that off camera. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. Now we have the entire box assembly out. Didn't really do much damage, which is what I wanted. What I really wanted is right there. That's the payoff. Those two bolts. So that I can get to those. See how the French lock's still bent over there? There's no way. I could have tried to sneak my hands up from the bottom through here, but I got big oversized hands, gorilla hands, and that would have been unpleasant to say the least. And see where that spark plug is? Good God, man. So we're changing that and hope we never have to change the spark plug again. This came off okay, but I may end up needing to get a new piece of weather stripping to get back on there because some of it ripped, I can see. But what we'll do is I'll clean up the entire firewall here before I put this back together again. And a lot of this is well packaged, but you can see, guys, how tight the packaging really is. So next episode, I'll have the cylinder head off by the next episode. And I'm gonna soak these today so I don't wrench these out of here and mess up this lovely heat shield that's here. And then I can go slow, clean up this area. And yeah, we made a little more progress today, so I'm happy. And you can kind of see that safety, or that what do they call these? They're called emergency torques. They're reversed from a regular torques. But you can kind of see the way that head is designed on that, and it really wasn't meant to come out of there. So we did good. So we made some progress. That's gonna wrap things up today because it's hot as usual. Even almost, we're what? Are we in the second week of September? Yes, we are. So I'm gonna go in, take a lunch break, get some other stuff done, and I will check back with you guys in a few days. So let me know what's going on. If you guys have seen any good weather lately, tell me about it because I'm not getting it yet over here. So I'll talk at you guys next time. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend.